Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the CALDO Open House webinar. We are doing this introduction a bit before the starting date, just to go over some technical features of the platform that we are using. If by any chance any of you is experiencing any image or audio issue, just be aware that you can adjust the resolution of the image on the bottom right side of the screen. So you will have a mechanical wheel that will enable you to adjust the resolution of the presentation. If you have a pretty good internet connection, you can configure it to the maximum resolution. If not, the 480 option would work very well in terms of the image quality. If you're experiencing any audio issue, give it a few seconds. Sometimes the connection just needs to adjust. If nothing happens after 1 minute, please log in again. Usually that fixes any technical issues you might be having. So for today, we are doing this webinar for our partner countries in Central and South America, and we have taken also the opportunity to do this webinar after our website was launched. So last week, CALDO introduced the new website and also the new logo that you can see in this first presentation. And we are already using this presentation also to advertise our visit to Mexico this Saturday. So there is a series of fairs from CONACYT taking place in different cities in Mexico, and CALDO will be present with several of the CALDO universities, and also the CALDO office will have a representative there. So we thought this would be a great opportunity to give you an overview of the CALDO universities and also of what we do here at the CALDO office. So the first thing that I would like to do is just give you a brief overview of what is the Canadian academic system at the graduate side. As eventually in most of your countries, after you completed your bachelor's degree, your bacharelado or licenciatura, you are able to move on to a master program. The master programs in Canada are divided into two different types. You have professional, also called course-based masters, and you have thesis-based masters or research masters. The big difference between each of these programs is the fact that the research thesis, the research or thesis-based master, like the name implies, is comprised of a research period. Usually in the second year, the student dedicates the full time to do research, while the professional or course-based master does not have such an intensive period of research. It might have a final project, but it's not a full year of research. Usually the professional master might take between 1 and 2 years to complete, and the research master might take around 2 years in most of the cases. At our universities, once the student has achieved a master degree, is able to apply for a PhD program. The PhD programs at CALDO universities tend to last between 4 to 5 years, being that most of the agencies that we have partnerships only cover up to 4 years of PhD studies in their scholarships. And the program implies that the first and second year may have some courses. The student may need to attend some classes, and after that the time is mostly dedicated to research. Talking about the CALDO universities, looking at the map of Canada, we can see that the CALDO universities are spread across the territory. Starting from the west to the east, we can see that the universities of Alberta and Calgary are located in the province of Alberta. In the province of Saskatchewan, we have the university with the same name. In Ontario, we find Waterloo, Western, Queens, and Ottawa. In the French-speaking province of Quebec, we find Université Laval, and in the province of Nova Scotia, we find Dalhousie University. For today's presentation, we will not have representatives from Waterloo, neither from Laval. So we will hear from all of the other universities, and hopefully you will have the chance to ask any questions to our guests today via the chat box. So to ask any questions, I just request that you use the chat box that you are able to find in the right side of the screen. And any questions that you may have will be answered at the end. Ideally, the questions should be asked in English. Some of our participants may understand Spanish or Portuguese, but I would suggest to write your questions in English. If by any chance you don't feel comfortable in the language, I can always assist with the translation of the question in case the representative that you're wanting to contact might not feel comfortable with the language. So without any further delay, I would like to confirm if Colette from Queens can hear me. Colette, can you hear me?
Hi, Paolo. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly, Colette.
Oh, terrific.
So
I was a bit
I will
worried then.
No, it's all good. We have everyone online. So I will just introduce you. We have Colette here from Queen's University, and she was very kind to offer her time to be with us at the beginning of the presentation. She will probably not stay for the final part of the questions and answers due to other commitments, but she is able to give us an overview of Queen's University. So Colette, feel free to move ahead, and I'll be changing the slides as you'll speak.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Paolo, and hello and welcome everybody. Sorry I was a little bit late getting on here, but I'll do my best to sort of give you a good overview of what Queen's can offer you. Now, Queen's campus actually borders on Lake Ontario and is surrounded by waterfront and green spaces, and is also known as the freshwater sailing capital of the world. So if you're interested in sailing, this is the place to be. Now, Kingston has world-class performance venues, film and music festivals, and a vibrant art scene, which I know everyone from our Latin American friends, you love music, you love the art scene, you love film. So once again, we may be a small town, but we're actually got a lot going on here. The city does rank in the top 5 of the world's best university towns to live in, according to the British Broadcasting Corporation, which we always like to sort of plug there. And given the rankings and the large numbers of youth in the city, it's not actually surprising that Kingston has a vibrant city centre full of shops, restaurants, and venues. So the Queen's Advantage. We are situated on what we call the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe traditional territory, and we're actually older than Canada itself, as this year is our university's 175th anniversary, and is also Kingston's 150th. So it seems a bit backward there, but you know, we like to do things a little differently around here. We were founded in 1841, and we are one of the earliest degree granting institutions in Canada. Today, we actually have a vibrant campus with over 21,000 current full-time students, which includes more than 4,000 graduate students. And of that, grad students make up 18% of the total enrollment here, and 23% of our grad student population are actually international students, which come from around 70 countries around the world. So we're very happy about that. We are a member of the U15, which is Canada's leading research-intensive universities, and Queen's ranks highly in terms of research funding and research intensity amongst our universities nationally. Our research income enables us to invest in graduate student research, and in turn our graduate students contribute to our research excellence by working with our experts. So it's a win-win all around there. And since 2003, we are first or second in Canada in a number of awards and prizes per full-time faculty member. So out of the 187.3 million research income that we got last year in 2016, that actually translates to approximately $250,000 per full-time faculty member. So there's lots of research dollars coming in to us for our supervisors. We also have 43 Canada Research Chairs and Canada Excellence Research Chairs, and graduate student supervision is a priority for our researchers. Next slide, please, Paolo. Now, with, we do have lots of degrees. We have 125 master's and doctoral programs, along with graduate diplomas now as well. And for those of you, I'm going to say a little bit about engineering specifically, because I know that is engineering is quite big in Latin America. So we have Masters of Engineering, Master of Applied Science and Engineering, doctoral, and of course graduate diplomas. So our engineering disciplines are civil, chemical, electrical and computer, physics, geological, math, mechanical and material engineering, and of course mining. And we also do have 3 interdisciplinary specializations in applied sustainability, biomedical engineering, and geoengineering. Another one of our programs designed for working engineers, which is quite important for those who still want to work and get some more credentials. We have a graduate diploma in social performance management in the extractive industries, and that's out of response to current and evolving conditions that shape relationships between industry and the communities affected by mineral resource projects. So we're quite happy with that as well. I mean, a full listing of all our programs, not just engineering. We've got programs in the health sciences, humanities and social sciences, and yeah, all those. They're all on our programs. You can find on our website, along with all the degrees. Now, our facilities offer opportunities for specialised and interdisciplinary research. So there's lots there that you can do as well. I'll talk a bit more about facilities in a moment. Slide 3, please. Thank you. Now, Queen's does have world-class facilities for both teaching and learning, as well as recreation and community engagement. And we're very big about community engagement here. On campus, we have 5 libraries and our first in holdings per student. And we have approximately 3 million volumes and over 80,000 e-journals containing more than 85,000 articles, which, don't worry, you don't have to read all of those yourselves. We have what we call the Isabel Bader Performing Arts Centre, which is new. It's only a couple of years old now and features performances by nationally and internationally acclaimed artists. And of course, we have our Agnes Etherington Arts Centre, which we do like to boast a lot, that we actually have 3 Rembrandts here and other masterpieces, which was very helpful, given to us by one of our very nice benefactors. We also have access to state-of-the-art athletics and recreation facilities. And of course, these, the use of the Athletics and Recreation Centre, like most universities, would be part of your student fees. So you don't have to add more money on top of that to keep yourself fit. And you'll also be able to enjoy all sorts of classes, whether it be spin, yoga, Zumba, cycling, you name it, we've got it, as well as intramurals and more, the fun stuff, which things like outside the box, and then soccer and all those sorts of things. And as we also have 2 new student innovation, getting a new student innovation and wellness centre, which is under construction. And of course, our 4 Directions Aboriginal Student Centre is a home away from home for our Indigenous students, and a site for information actually and support for the broader Queen's community. Talking about community, our grad community here, Queen's grad students have the highest master's and second highest PhD completion rates amongst Canada's research-intensive universities, so we're very proud of that statistic. Our grad students also report a high level of satisfaction with their academic experience here, and there are a number of reasons for this. We do have close interaction with our professors, and as well as peers, mentorship in conducting research, the supports and research resources that we have developed specifically for grad students to support your academic success. So grad student life is more, as I said, more than just academics. You can join clubs on campus, get involved in the Kingston community, join intramural sports teams, catch a concert or a play. They're just some of the things that you can do here. And, Queen's offers all of the typical supports that universities offers to students, such as student academic success services, student wellness service, and accessibility. And Queen's has also developed academic and professional and personal support services and resources specifically for students. So I'd like to take a few minutes just to talk to you quickly about some of these services. One of them, for information, our mentors are happy to share their personal stories to you. So we do have a lot of alumni that come back and help us. And We like to showcase your research. We help our students do that by, we're actually just running right now our 3-minute thesis competition. We're in the middle of our heats, so that's keeping us pretty busy, an opportunity to share your research to everybody in 3 minutes. We have a weekly radio show called Grad Chat, where our students come on, whether it's live or in pre-recorded, and talk about their research, as well as opportunities to write for our student blog, telling people what's going on. And of course, we do a lot with our Kingston community, doing outreach, both in terms of getting them to know about our research, but also helping them as well. Now, grad studies is different to undergrad, and you'll find that out that pretty quickly. So you do need to manage your time, and we need to make sure you take your breaks that you need as well. So along with that, we do have what we call our SGS Habitat, which is a one-stop shop for being well and staying well in grad school. So it's well worth a look as well. We also have Expanding Horizons, which is academic resources and workshops for you to help you professionally as an academic, and then as future careers. And in terms of future careers too, we don't just say, you know, here's your degree. We do try and help you get yourself prepared for life after grad studies. And so we have things like our annual career week, where we get employers, we get alumni, we get other people coming in to talk to you and mentor you about possible career opportunities for you. So we have all that. Now, in terms of applying, there's a little bit there about the where to go to actually do an application. But basically, to apply, you need to have 2 official transcripts, 2 academic references. You need to make sure you pass our English language requirements. But the big thing is, do check each program what they require, because some require a little bit more, such as a graduate record examination, or maybe a writing sample or something like that. So you need to keep tabs on all of that. I think that's probably it. I've probably gone a little bit too fast anyway. I'm hoping, I'm actually lucky enough to be heading down, for those of you in Mexico, to Mexico City. So I hope to meet some of you there. But otherwise, for the rest of you, if not, please never hesitate to contact us here at School of Graduate Studies. We'd love to hear from you if you've got any questions. And if we can help you out in any way, just please let us know. So Paolo, thank you very much for that. Thank you, everyone. And I'm sorry I can't stay, but I've got another event to go to. That's how busy we are, trying to keep things well and good for you in grad studies. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Colette. And it was very good to hear from you, and thank you for taking the time to be here with us today, because I know that you have other commitments today.
Thank you very much.
So right now, moving from Kingston in Ontario, let's go to Edmonton in Alberta, where Nicole will be talking about the specificities of the University of Alberta. So Nicole, if you're available, please feel free to step in and talk to us about the University of Alberta.
Great. Thank you, Paolo. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this afternoon. I'll try and give you a bit of a brief overview of the University of Alberta and the programs and services we can offer. So the University of Alberta, it's one of Canada's top 5 research universities, and it's consistently ranked among the top 100 in the world, according to the QS ranking system. So we offer over 200 undergrad and more than 500 graduate programs in over 300 different research areas. So the programs we cover are quite extensive, very diverse. It covers over 18 different faculties. So some of our bigger faculties include engineering, business, science, pharmacy and pharmaceutical sciences, medicine and dentistry. Our Faculty of Medicine has over a dozen different departments and institutes and specializations. We have a very extensive School of Public Health. We have our Faculty of Arts, Agricultural, Life and Environmental Sciences, and Rehabilitation Sciences. A little bit about where we're located. So as Paulo said, we're kind of more on the western side of Canada. So we're located in Edmonton, which is the capital city of Alberta. A little bit about Edmonton. It's approximately 1 million people, so it's a smallish city, but we are considered the festival city of Canada. It doesn't matter what season, there's always something to do. We are also a very clean, safe, diverse city. It's also within the province of Alberta, which is a very oil-rich province, fairly strong economy. So we are very fortunate to have some of the latest facilities and technologies to use for exploration and discovery. So some of those facilities are National Institute for Nanotechnology. So we have researchers that come from across Canada to use those facilities, and they're developing some pretty incredible things there and collaborating on an international scale. We also have a lot of high-tech classrooms, over 400 research laboratories, and not just in the science and engineering, but also we have our TIM Center for the Arts as well, which is where all of our arts drama students put on their performances throughout the year. We also have a brand new engineering building that just opened this past year, and also a new recreation facility that opened last year as well, which is also included in the student fees. So we're a world leader in energy research, as well as in environmental studies, medicine, virology, and nanotechnology. We also have a lot of very unique programs, like our petroleum engineering program, which is one of the largest and oldest programs in Canada. We also have programs that specialize in areas like paleontology, land reclamation, so some very niche research areas. Just recently, it was announced that we're in the top 50 in the world in some subject areas like pharmacy, and in the top 20 in the world in areas like nursing, sports-related subjects, which was ranked number 10, and minerals and mining. So we were also recently ranked the 31st in the world for the most international universities. So this is taking into account a very diverse faculty base, a very diverse student population. So 40% of our graduate students are international students. We also have a lot of international partnerships, research collaboration. So we're very proud about this recent ranking. So we have over 6,000 international students from 147 different countries. So we do have an international student center here on campus that offers specialized advising for international students. And we also plan different events, like we'll plan trips to the Rocky Mountains, which are very close to us, and other areas of Alberta. And then some of the other programming we offer, things like our English Conversation Club. We have a peer support program, which kind of matches new students with current students here, just to kind of make your transition a bit easier. We also have specialized immigration advisors and a 3-day orientation specifically for international students. We have many on-campus housing options, different budgets, and depending on, if you want to have a single space for yourself, if you want to share with another graduate student. And we also have a family residence on campus as well. We have a wide variety of academic support services for students. So things like our Center for Writers, which can match you with a tutor to work on writing support for free. And we also have our Student Success Center, which holds regular workshops that will give you tips and advice on things like preparing your thesis proposal or doing presentations for your research, all those things that you might want some extra support with. We also have Canada's second largest library collection, which is very easy to access. Some of the libraries have very late hours depending on the year. And world-class facilities. I mentioned some of those earlier on, but we also have our teaching hospital on campus and a clinic health academy, which houses our programs in areas like nursing, pharmacy, some of our medicine programs. So having them kind of in the same building, in the same area, allows a lot of different collaboration on research and partnerships. In terms of faculty, we have the highest number of National 3M Teaching Fellows in Canada, which is a very prestigious award. So 41 of our faculty members have been recipients of that. In terms of graduate admission, the minimum requirements, the base requirements are about a 3 out of 4 during your last 2 years of full-time studies. And in terms of an English requirement, we typically look for IELTS 6.5 or TOEFL 88. Some programs might request higher. If you're not sure, you can contact us to find out. What I recommend you do is just take a look at the department websites that you're interested in and read about the professors doing research in your area, because that's kind of the first step to determine, if it's a good fit for you and who you would like to work with on research. The benefit with the University of Alberta is we have a dedicated sponsored student program available to international students who will have scholarships from their home countries, or if you're planning on applying for a scholarship. So what we can do is kind of help you find a supervising professor and support you through that process. And then we'll help you through the application phase, and if you do get admission, we'll continue supporting you through your transition to Edmonton and continue to advise you through your program. So you have a constant support throughout your time here. So I will be available. I'll be sticking around so I can answer any questions via chat after.
Thank you so much, Nicole. And now we will still remain in the province of Alberta, and we will go to the University of Calgary, where Calvin is going to talk a bit about the university feature and services. Calvin, if you can hear me, please.
Yes, I can.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for the opportunity to speak at this event, and thank you everybody for joining us today. I'll be in Mexico this week as well, so if you're in Mexico City or visiting some of the Economy Seat fairs, I look forward to meeting you. I'll give you a brief overview of the University of Calgary. As you can see on the screen, the University of Calgary, we're ranked #1 young university under 50 based on the QS World Rankings. The University of Calgary is Canada's top university under 50 years of age, an innovation-driven institution with proven world-class research expertise. At the University of Calgary, we have over 30,000 students and around 6,000 graduate students, and about 1,500 are international. Not only are our students immersed in outstanding academic environment with highly acclaimed professors and researchers, they get valuable hands-on experience and have open access to a wide range of academic and professional development opportunities, including paid internships. So whether in the laboratory, the classroom, or at work, your success is our success. And as you can see from the picture there, the Rocky Mountains is only an hour away from where we are. Okay. And we're located in Calgary, which is a young and innovative city, and we're one of the world's cleanest city, and one of Canada's most ethnically diverse cities, and #5 most livable city in the world. We have 40 international consulate offices in Calgary, and Calgary is the sunniest city in Canada, with over 333 days a year of sunshine. So if you love sun and love going down the river and working your way to the mountains, this is a place for you. Next slide, please, Paulo. So the University of Calgary, we have over 55 graduate programs, and our key research areas are in brain and mental health, human dynamics in changing world, new Earth space technologies, engineering solutions for health, biomedical engineering, infections, inflammation, and chronic disease in changing environment, and energy innovations for today and tomorrow. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but just recently, the Ministry of Energy in Mexico signed a $44 million collaboration with the University of Calgary, and that gives us a lot of opportunities to work with some universities in Mexico in terms of energy, oil, refinement and stuff like that. So there's a lot of great collaborations happening now with the University of Calgary and some of the Latin American institutions. In the University of Calgary, we also have a program called My Skills. It's an academic and professional development workshop where all students have access to. They put on workshops for students who need help writing a thesis, communicating with supervisors, formatting theses and stuff like that. They also offer paid internships to students. And this year, they had 4 students who were participating in the paid internships, and all of them got job offers after their paid internship. So that was a great success for the My Grad Skills program. At the University of Calgary, we also have a dedicated graduate residence that was opened in 2015. So this graduate residence houses 394 graduate apartments. It has their own private bathrooms and full kitchens. It has a Starbucks in the building and has a community lounge overlooking green space, additional community kitchens, study rooms, and academic project rooms on the main floor. So a very unique building in itself. For graduate admission, these are the minimum standards set out by the Faculty of Graduate Studies. We require students to have a 4-year bachelor's degree with a 3.0 GPA, but students coming from Latin America, we have different admission requirements, and I encourage you to look on a website to see what those requirements are. And also, there's an English language proficiency test that you'll need to meet. Again, these are just the minimum standards. Some programs do have higher admission standards than what we set out. And also some programs require a GMAT or GRE exam, and usually the endorsement head of the graduate program. Great, thanks, Paulo.
Thank you so much, Calvin, for the presentation. We are now moving from the west to the east. So we are going to Halifax, where Jasmine will be able to talk to us about the Dalhousie University, its programs, and the services that it provides. So Jasmine, please go ahead, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Paulo. So Dalhousie University was founded in 1818. We have 18,500 students, more than 3,300 of whom are graduate students, and over 2,600 international students from 116 countries. For graduate students, just over 32% of our grad students are international, and we're also the largest, we have the largest number of Nova Scotian students, so there's a really nice mix of students in almost all of our programs. We have 1,080 faculty. We offer 180 undergraduate degree programs, more than 95 now master's programs, and more than 45 doctoral programs. This year we had our 90th Rhodes Scholar, which is pretty exciting, and we're Atlantic Canada's research leader with over 1,000 researchers. We've repeatedly been ranked one of the best places for researchers to work, named one of the 100 most international universities in the world. Nova Scotia's motto, which is on our license plates, is Canada's Ocean Playground, which I rather love. I moved to Nova Scotia to do my master's at Dal, and it's quite a treat to be in Halifax on a peninsula surrounded by the ocean. Our agricultural campus is located in Truro, which is about an hour and away and is amazingly picturesque. I'm from the West, so East Coast houses and history is really interesting. So the areas of research strength for Dalhousie University are ocean studies, we're the home of the Ocean Tracking Network, and also a new interdisciplinary oceans research project, working with quite a few partners, universities, municipalities, and industry in the area. We have a new oceanography building with the world's largest saltwater research tanks. They're quite fascinating to appear at. And there are related programs like marine management, resource and environmental management, marine biology that all do very well to have interdisciplinary and also collaboratory arrangements. And of course, it's helpful being by the ocean. Advanced materials and clean technology is another area of research strength. The new ideas building is under construction right now. And if anyone here is in Mexico City, a representative from the engineering department will be in Mexico City. And I highly encourage you to talk to her because she is an expert in the exciting things that are happening. Another area of research strength is health and wellness. Governance, society, and culture is another area of strength. And at the moment, they're very excited to be hosting the World Bank's 2017 World Development Report launch. They're particularly excited about it because we are not the capital city of Canada. So it's pretty exciting to have a launch event when traditionally it's only the capitals that do. Information Science and Communications has a brand new grad certificate in big data that's launching this coming year. And we're also home of the Big Data Institute. Agriculture and Food Technologies, as I mentioned, is located in Truro on the agriculture campus. In particular, they have some new research in aquaculture that's getting some news. And energy and environment is another area of research strength, as well as thesis-based programs. We have a Master's of Resource and Environmental Management and a Master's of Marine Management that are course-based programs. So I'm very happy, so I'm very happy to talk a little bit about our admission requirements, but they're very similar to the universities that have already presented. I'm one of our admissions officers, and I will be here until the end. So instead of sort of reiterating what's being said, I'll be available to answer any questions. I also did my master's at Dallas, so I'm very happy to tell you a bit about my experience if that's what you'd rather ask questions about. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. And moving now to the capital city of Canada, Ottawa, where Caroline is will talk to us about the University of Ottawa, its programs, and the services that it provides. So Caroline, please go ahead. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Caroline Regimbert from the University of Ottawa. So I will try to make this presentation as brief and interesting as I can. I know some of you have probably been listening for quite a long time. So the University of Ottawa is the largest French-English bilingual university in the world. So for those who don't know, Ottawa is the capital of Canada. So it's not Toronto or Montreal or Vancouver, it is Ottawa. And here we have two official languages. We have French and English. So as a bilingual university, you can choose to study entirely in English or in French, or you can really do a mix of both. And that really is your choice. So you don't have to know French to live in Ottawa, but if you are interested in learning French as a third language, you have this amazing opportunity by coming here. You can take French language courses at the university for free, so as part of your program of study. And you can, if you take one course of content in French, you also have the possibility to write your exams in English. And it's the same thing for English courses. You can also write your exams and your essays in French. Ottawa, as I said, is the capital of Canada, but it's not the biggest city in Canada. It's rather small, it's safe, and it's very multicultural. It was recently voted as the #1 student city in the world, voted by students. And so yeah, students really love it here. What's great is that the cost of living is not as high as in bigger cities, and everything is easily accessible. Just right across the river, so 10 minutes away from Ottawa, there's the province of Quebec. So you're only a few minutes away from a francophone part of our country, which is really great. We are also located not too far from Toronto and Montreal, just a few hours away. So if you want to travel around, this is really good. We have a lot of international students at the university. In over 185 graduate programs. And University of Ottawa is really known for their research. You can change the slide, please. So we have 10 different faculties from which you can choose your program of study. For arts and humanities, the University of Ottawa is very strong for translation studies, but we have a lot of other programs in arts as well. Our law program is very complete because we are one of the 2 universities in Canada that teach common and civil law in the same program with McGill University in Montreal. So as you may know, Canada has 2 legal systems. The common law system comes from English countries, and the civil law is more linked to French countries and Latin America. So Ottawa is a great place to study comparative law. For engineering, 30% of our students are international. So the professors are really used to it and are very keen to students coming from abroad. In health and medicine, which are 2 separate faculties, UOttawa is very strong in research. In health sciences, you have programs such as nutrition, nursing, etc. In science, we are in the top 5 best universities for photonics research, and we have a very strong fundamental science program. Furthermore, Ottawa is a great place to study social sciences. So since it's the capital, it's a unique place because we have all of the embassies here. We have the government offices right in our city. And finally, if you're interested in management, you have access to both public and private organizations in Ottawa. So we have the government, but we also have a lot of private organizations here. We often get a lot of questions about finding a supervisor for your thesis. So during your studies, you will work directly with a professor who is conducting research in your field of study. In terms of if you have to find your supervisor before applying, it really depends on the program. Generally, for engineering and sciences, you have to find your supervisor in advance. And for arts, social sciences, etc., you don't have to find your supervisor in advance. So for those programs, you will have to find one during your first year of study. So please check the specific requirements that apply to your program of study on our website. Another thing is when you contact your potential supervisor, really take your time to write a good email. So it is honestly the most important part of your application. So you want to use a formal writing style and mention that you are applying for sponsorship, that you will be sponsored by your country, as this sometimes helps to be chosen. As for the application process, the deadlines for September 2017 have already passed. For graduate studies, there are sometimes exceptions. If you have a strong file and you found your thesis supervisor already, we might make an exception, but it's really case by case. For some programs, you can also start in January or May, not only it's in September, but you will have to check the website for each program requirement. You have to submit with your application a proof of language proficiency for French or English, so not both. For French, we accept tests like DALF, DELF, TEF, TCF, etc. And for English, we accept TOEFL, IELTS, etc. So it's the scores and the information are kind of the same as the other university mentioned, so I'm not going to repeat them. But all of the information can be found on our website. You also need to submit 2 letters of references. and your official transcripts need to be translated in French or English. And other documents might be required specifically to your program, so make sure you check that as well. And yeah, you can go on our website at grad.uottawa.ca for more information. Yeah, that's it for the University of Ottawa. Thank you so much for listening, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Caroline. And after Ottawa, let's pay a visit to Western University in London, Ontario, where Olga will be talking to us about the programs and services of Western University.
Great. Thank you so much, Paula. It is a great pleasure for me to be here with you, and thank you so much for joining us today at the webinar and listening through 7 presentations. Hopefully this is very informative for you. So my name is Olga Paladi, and in my role, I work closely with prospective graduate international students who are looking to pursue their postgraduate programs at Western University. So if you have any questions after the presentation about information on how to find a program supervisor, help with admission requirements and application process, I will be very happy to assist you with that. So we don't have a lot of time, so I will be giving you just a glimpse into Western University, and I will be talking to you about reasons why we have students joining us from all over the world, and our location as well as our admission requirements. So Western University is one of Canada's leading academic institutions recognized for leadership in research, education, and healthcare. It is also ranked among the top 1% of institutions of higher education worldwide. We are one of the few research-intensive, comprehensive medical doctoral institutions, which simply means that we are committed to research and teaching, and we offer 88 unique graduate degree programs and 31 graduate credentials across 12 faculties and schools, which range from School of Music to Faculty of Engineering to Law to Sciences to Business, etc. We are also one of Canada's oldest universities. We were established in 1878, and we're also Canada's 7th largest university with a student population of around 37,700 students, and 5,700 students are of 37,700 are graduate students, and 22% of them are international students from 89 different countries, including many students from Latin America, such as Mexico, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Chile, etc. As you may know that 1/3 of Canada's research capacity is found in our universities, and this is by far a high proportion than most other countries, and Canada is recognized as a world leader in research and development. And as a result of this, our students have access to world-class research facilities and are able to conduct cutting-edge research at our universities. We also have nearly 50 prestigious Canada research chairs at Western universities who are awarded in our key areas of research strengths, including neuroscience, medical imaging, and just to give you an example, we have one of the top imaging complements in the world, and Paula Foster, who is a professor at Western, demonstrated for the first time in 2006 that MRI can be used to detect a single cell in a living animal. Other areas of research strength include wind engineering and natural disaster mitigation. And Western's researchers have been recognized as world leaders in knowledge related to social, political, economic, practical dynamics of environmental disaster mitigation with specific strengths in wind and earthquake research. We have also emerged as a leader in research related to energy deficits, pollution, and adaptation. We are also Canada's only graduate program in planetary science, and we are in the top 5 internationally in this particular program. So these are just some of our key areas of research strength, and including, of course, we have amazing state-of-the-art research facilities such as Brain and Mind Institute, Biotron Climate Change Research Facility, Rodman Institute of Philosophy, WIND-D, which is the world's first 3D wind distinct chamber, and AFAR, which is Advanced Facility for Avian Research. Next slide, please. So you might wonder, where is Western University? So we are situated in the province of Ontario, the same as Queen's University, Ottawa, Waterloo. So we are in great company. And we are situated in London, which is approximately 200 kilometers west of Toronto and 200 kilometers east of Detroit in the United States. We have a very diverse population of under 500,000 people, and London is known as an educational, cultural, and economic hub of southwestern Ontario. London is also known as the Forest City for its many parks and green areas, and in my opinion, it truly offers the best of both worlds, the safety, charm, and affordability of a small community with the diversity, career opportunities, and conveniences of a big city. And something just as an interesting statistics, 30% of Canada's population lives within 2 to 5 hour drive of London, and there's access to 150 million people in Canada and US within a 10-hour drive. So what is life like at Western? Western University provides a very open, safe, and inclusive campus community with close to 170 different student clubs and volunteer organizations and a wide range of support services. Western Mustangs rank #1 among all Canadian inter-university sports, or CIS universities. And the types, in terms of the type of support services that we offer, they include the Student Success Center, Student Development Center, Teaching and Learning Center, housing specifically dedicated to graduate students. We offer counseling, we offer support in immigration and study permit, as well as English conversation circles and cultural transitioning programs. Next slide. So now let's shift gears a little bit and briefly talk about the application process and what it takes for students to apply and get an offer of admission to Western University. The application deadline for most programs has passed. Typically, the application program deadline for many programs, our graduate programs, is around January, February. However, there are a few programs, such as many programs within the engineering faculty, that accept students 3 times a year, so for fall, winter, and summer sessions. So you would be eligible to apply for some of the engineering programs if you're interested. So first and foremost, you would of course want to know that the graduate program of your interest is offered at Western University, and you'll be able to find a full list of our graduate programs at www.uwo.ca, and the website is clearly displayed here on the screen. Hopefully you can see that. And you just click on applicants and find my program, and there you'll be able to find a list of all the graduate programs that we offer at the master's and PhD level. Then you would want to ensure that you meet all the different program requirements by visiting our programs admission page. And each program admission page has specific information about each program, what it offers. It has information on the times to completion, description of the program, curriculum options, as well as the funding details and admission limits. So you do want to make sure that you go on each of those pages and review the specific admission requirements. Besides, obviously, receiving your transcripts, we would want to ensure you would want to ensure that the program may require additional tests such as GRE or GMAT. And English is the principal language of instruction here at Western University, so you would want to ensure that you have English preparation and have taken tests such as TOEFL or IELTS or MELAB or CAEL test. However, TOEFL and IELTS tend to be the most popular tests. And each program has its own set of requirements for TOEFL or IELTS. However, generally speaking, for most programs on TOEFL, we require around 86, and on IELTS, it's 6.5 with no part less than 6. In terms of the other requirements that you would want to submit is your reference letters, 2 to 3 reference letters, and scan of your academic records in English, translated as well as in the original language of instruction. And all the supporting documentation is collected digitally within the application, unless, of course, otherwise noted in the application program. So this is really it. I shouldn't probably say too much. We still have one more university to go. And if you have any follow-up questions about Western and the application process or our programs, I'll be very happy to communicate with you here via chat. So we certainly invite you to share in our tradition of excellence and experience the advantages that Western University graduate degree programs offer. So thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you, Olga. And let's go now to Saskatoon, to the University of Saskatchewan, where Danny will be introducing the university and giving us some highlights of what you can expect from the University of Saskatchewan.
Thank you, Paulo, and thank you everyone for coming to the webinar today. You know, as many of my colleagues said, you know, we're all very good universities in the top 15. The University of Saskatchewan specifically has over 100 programs at the master's and PhD level in a variety of areas and fields. One of the things that I find very interesting about our university is that we have around 34% of international students in our graduate programs. And we always ask ourselves the questions as to why international students are choosing the university. And there's a variety of reasons. Of course, we have a university language center so that students can come and upgrade their English language before they start the university courses, the master's or PhD. We have, of course, the province is actually very generous in the sense that you can have free health care for students and your families if you with your family. Of course, we have a graduate pathways program. So if you are a student that brings a scholarship from your country, then you're eligible to take a pathway. So we speed up the process for you and allow you to take the ESL and the university as you move along your decision. And of course, we offer scholarships, but in addition to that, we receive a lot of research funding, as it's posted on the actual slide there. Anyway, so those are some of the reasons, and of course, the other reason that many people like it is that you know, you can work. If you bring your family and staff, you can work, and your family can work. But of course, we would prefer that you concentrate on your research and move ahead on that part of your studies. The university itself, you know, it's a large university. I mentioned that it has about 13 colleges, 3 graduate schools, and 6 affiliated and federated colleges. Some of the things the university is known for is the interdisciplinary research that we can do. We have very large research centers here at the university, like the Canadian Light Source Synchrotron, which, if you can imagine, is a huge microscope that allows you to see the particles of things. Among other things, of course, as you can see in the slide, we have the Vaccines and Infectious Disease Organization. We have the Global Institute for Water Security. We also have the Global Institute for Food Security, Toxicology Center, and we also have a Nuclear Center. But the more important part is that we are, some of our programs are very well ranked within the QS ranking. So our veterinary sciences, environmental sciences, agriculture and bioresources, and engineering are among the top 50 to 150. According to the QS ranking. So that's important to know when you're trying to make a decision about where you're going to go and do your research or your studies at the master's or PhD level. I mentioned earlier that we have scholarships for you, and from the university at the grad studies level, we offer the International Dean's Scholarship, which, if you're thinking about doing a PhD, We offer around $22,000 per year. So that would be 4 years of $22,000 each year. And in addition to that, we also have $18,000 for master's programs. So that's 2 years, $18,000 per year. In addition to that, of course, if you're very good at what you do and you help the professor, there's TA opportunities, and a TA means is a teaching assistant. So you can be part of the not only doing your research, but also helping other students forward their studies and their knowledge in the field of study that you have. If you are a student that is from one of the countries that is listed on the slide, so Colombia, Ecuador, Mexico, Panama, Chile, Peru, Uruguay, we work with all the agencies, and we'll try to make your life as easy as possible. And in addition to that, we also work closely with CALDO to make sure that the communication goes between all the ways, and you're part of the process. So that's important to us, and I think from a university, we have dedicated people that will help you through the process, which sometimes could be quite large and quite a long time for as a student. I'm gonna keep it very simple, and when you're thinking about choosing a program, I invite you to visit the website. It's grad.usas.ca. Make sure that you choose a program. Some of my colleagues already mentioned that you have to find a supervisor. Like I mentioned, if you have a scholarship from your country, please do let us know, and we'll try our best to support you in finding a professor or a researcher in your area. So that's what we call a facilitator referral. Learn about the admissions process, learn about the program, the research that our professors do. That's very key for you to be successful in your application to university. Once that you have found your supervisor, of course, please apply, send us all your documents. We'll help you with all the letters of acceptance and all that from our side. Make sure that you go back and check the information. Sometimes we communicate a lot by email. And of course, once that you have been admitted, please accept the admissions offer from us. Here you'll find 2 phone numbers and emails. If you are looking for graduate opportunities, please make sure you contact us at grad.studies@usas.ca. We'll be happy to answer any questions or put you in touch with the right professor here at the university.
So thank you so much, Danny. We have now completed the the 7 universities that we have for today. And I would like to just take a few minutes just to give you some extra information on what services and what type of information you can receive from the CALDO office, especially information that I've noticed that relates to the questions that you have been asking. So I will just take around 5 minutes just to give you some guidelines as to where you can find relevant information that will be definitely valuable for you to apply, or at least to organize your application. So one of the things that we have tried to do with our website is basically give you access to information on the admission process and to any of our universities in a very quick way. Based on the experience that we have of advising international students for 9 different universities, we have developed some pretty good map of what the student is looking for and what are sort of saying the frequently asked questions and resources that they are looking for. And one of the things that I would like to highlight is the following. To apply to any of our universities, we have defined some steps to apply that can be very simple to give perspective of what are the stages that you need to go through. So the first thing that we have here is that the first stage should be for you to find a program. So our universities offer combined more than 2,000 programs between masters and PhDs. And obviously it can be a bit overwhelming to try to navigate all of this information without at least knowing where to start looking for. So in here, when you click here, you have direct links to all of our university programs. The second step is for you to find financing. As you may be aware, Canadian universities, unlike some of the countries in Latin America, the education is not fully funded. So there's the need to pay tuition fees. And we have agreements with different entities from Latin American countries and countries in Central and South America in regards to providing options for scholarships for master and PhD programs. The first step is to find a supervisor. Unless you are applying to a professional or course-based master, you will most likely need to find and contact a professor that is doing research in the area of your interest. So in here, in this step 3, you will find information on how to contact the supervisor. And the last step is to actually submit a formal application to the university. CALDO is here to assist you with information, to assist you with giving you access to the different steps and to the different resources that you need. But we are not the application. We are not the entity that you should apply. You should apply directly to the universities. And in here, you will find information, direct links on where to apply to each of our universities. Another resource that I would like to highlight is the tools to apply. Based on the different webinars that we did, on the several emails that we receive, we have devised a series of topics, and we will probably continue to add topics to these tools on which are the major things and the major topics that candidates have some questions about. So some of your questions might find answers on our tools to apply, especially in regards to how to produce documents, how to contact supervisors. What are the specificities of the Canadian academic system, and also what are the specificities of, for example, the different English tests that you can do, at least the most common. Another resource that we would like to highlight is our universities page. You heard from each of our representatives about our universities. However, you are able to read about each of them also on the section about our universities. And last but not least, you might have questions about what is the experience of living in Canada, of studying in Canada. And we also have a section dedicated to studying in Canada, coming to Canada, living here, specificities of our cities, and testimonials from students from different countries in Latin America. So I would just like to highlight these resources that are available before we move on to the questions. And I would like to start the question period with something that I noticed that was a recurring question that had to do with admission letters. Some of you were asking what, at least that's the impression that I had. If you do not meet all the minimum requirements, what happens in those cases? Do you get any admission letter, or do you need to basically meet all the requirements to receive some sort of document? So this will take us to the topic of conditional versus unconditional admission letters. And I would invite any of our guests to step in and talk a bit about what are the possibilities when a student does not meet all the requirements. Like, because I know that between all the universities, basically the same procedure. So if anyone wants to step in and just talk a bit about what happens when a student does not meet all the requirements, and then what are the next steps for him to have an unconditional admission letter.
Hi, Paulo. I'd be happy to answer that.
Sure, go ahead, Jasmine. Thank you.
So the most common conditional admissions are for people whose degree are still in progress. So for instance, if you haven't completed your final semester, you'd receive a conditional admission. We do also offer conditional admissions for ESL conditions, and in exceptional circumstances, it may be possible to get a conditional admission for some other requirements. But the very basic ones, you must be planning to have a 4-year degree that meets the GPA requirements. And of course, eventually you will have to meet all your conditions before you can start the program. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, no, I think it gives a very good overview of the process. Does anyone wants to step in to add something else? Okay, so in terms of the other questions that are being asked here, there is also the recurring question of, okay, if I don't have funding from an agency or from a professor in Canada that is willing to finance me, can I use personal savings to pay for my master and PhD? So this is a common question that usually comes up, and that I saw also that a candidate is asking about it. So I would ask any of you to engage in this topic, and eventually others might step in and add further information. So does anyone wants to step in to talk about the options of financing master and PhD programs?
Hi, Paulo. This is Olga from Western.
Yes, Olga. Thank you. Go ahead.
So, if you would like to use your personal funding, personal savings, particularly for our professional and course-based master's programs, that certainly is more than welcomed. And in fact, for these professional course-based programs, you have to pay them with personal funding, as the funding will not be provided in this case by a supervisor. However, for our thesis-based, research-based master's and PhD programs, it's a case-by-case basis. So in some cases, you may be able to use your personal funding to support your PhD master's studies, and in other cases, it is not so welcomed. So that's the situation at Western, but I think it really varies across other universities that are present here. I would think, or maybe not. Maybe it is the same. I don't know.
Thank you so much, Olga. So does anyone want to step in to give further information on this topic?
Yeah, maybe from Calgary here.
Yeah, go ahead, Calvin. Yeah.
It's not very common for students to fund themselves in a Master's of Science thesis-based or PhD. We do want students to have funding, either from a sponsoring agency or from the program via TA or teaching assistants, research assistants, or through the supervisor grants. It's just that we know it's very difficult for students to kind of predict what the costs will be, and we don't want any students to be in any financial disadvantage where they're in a situation that they can't finish their degree. So here we'll provide students with a minimum funding set up by their program, and that's something that's very competitive and depending on the program.
Yeah. So for those would be the scenarios for the thesis-based masters and the PhD programs. Eventually, for the course-based masters, it would apply the same as I think Olga mentioned, that those programs are mostly self-funded by students. Correct, Calvin?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah, I think that this is basically the scenario for most of our universities. If anyone wants to still make some considerations before we move on to the next question, please do so, and I will look for further questions on our chat box before putting them to discussion with the panel. So someone is asking here if we could talk a bit more about the research proposal. So like I mentioned, on the tools to apply on our website, on the tools to apply, you will find very good information on how to write a research proposal and how to get in touch with a supervisor. However, we can open we can give it a few minutes to go through this topic. So if anyone that hasn't yet participated wants to step in, please feel free, talking a bit about the research proposal and supervisor.
Hi, Paulo. It's Nicole here.
Nicole, thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can talk a bit about the statement of research intent. So, it's meant to kind of attract the attention of a professor when you're searching for a supervising professor. You don't have to have a very specific research proposal, but you should have some ideas of what you would like to research, and talk a bit about how your interests are connected to the professor that you want to work with. So what about your academic background, your work experience, things that have some type of connection to what the professor is doing or what you want to do. And just talking about goal planning, like why you want to do your master's or PhD, what your plans are afterwards, those types of things. So I think there's a good outline on the CALDO website, but once you know what university you want to apply to, and once you submit your application to CALDO, we can kind of support you further with that.
Yeah, definitely, Nicole. By the way, for those that may not be aware, one of the supports that CALDO provides is the fact that we enable you to submit a pre-assessment to any of our universities and to any of our programs via our steps to apply. This pre-assessment is basically a tool that you will find under step 3, find a supervisor, that enables candidates to, after they have outlined the programs of interest and the supervisors of interest, we will put you in contact with our universities that afterwards will connect with the supervisor that you mentioned. The goal is that through somewhat more efficient way, you are able to gain access directly to the supervisor, which does not always happen if you send an email directly to the professors. So this is just another service that it's good to be aware that it's available. So let me browse through the questions to see if there's anything else that might be grouped in terms of topics for questions. In terms of programs, I've noticed that some questions here relate to programs. It's somewhat complex to be talking about program requirements on a webinar because there are so many programs and so many requirements that the precise requirements are always best explained via a direct email to either CALDO or to any of our universities. However, I would advise that if programs are available at our universities, you can always start by contacting CALDO and get an overall perspective of what is available. We also provide information on the scholarships that our partners offer. So we have scholarships that you can find information on the CALDO website under steps to apply, finding financing. All of those scholarships have very detailed requirements, and for the most cases, we are able to give you at least the overall perspective of what's eligible, what's not eligible in terms of programs, and also in terms of universities, because some scholarships have ranking criteria. Today, just for general information, Laval and Waterloo were not able to be present. However, I would advise everyone to go to our YouTube channel because we have previous webinars that we did with both universities on admission process. And also, I will just highlight that this presentation will be available for everyone that registered via register with the link for the presentation. I will just see if there's any other pertinent question that was not answered, and I would after that advise everyone that if you have further requests for information, please to contact the email that you see in this slide, graduate.coordinator@caldo.ca. This is the general CALDO email for any question related to our programs. If you are in Mexico, we will have several of our representatives there from this Saturday, 25th, to the beginning of April. And please see the calendar of fairs on our Facebook. We have in the CALDO Facebook the dates and places of where we will be, and we will also have a dedicated CALDO presentation in Mexico City, for which you need to register at the embassy, at the Canadian Embassy in Mexico City. So please go to our Facebook, because everything is there. If you have any questions, also send us an email, and we will be very quick to answer you and let you know where we will be in Mexico in the next week. Outside of that, our universities are present in different cities throughout the year. We will be in several different countries again in September for the September fairs, but until then, we will most likely just prepare everything and be providing our support via online services. So I would like to thank all of our guests for taking the time to be with us today. Thank you so much to everyone that took the time to be with us today. Also, I would like to thank everyone that registered for today. Due to the time difference, I know that in some countries probably we caught you close to lunch hour. So thank you for taking the time to be with us. And please feel free to contact us, and rest assured that you will receive an email tomorrow with the link for the webinar. So we hope to see you next time, and have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Paulo.
Thank you, Paulo.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, Paulo.
Thank you, Danny. Have a nice day. Bye, Jasmine.
Bye.